No long intro. Now, for today's video, I'll be framing out a trade idea and a trade I actually did take today. So, we're looking at USDCAD longs. And one of the very first things you always want to do before every trading session or every trading day is to take a look at the economic calendar for the trading session ahead. And for last night's session, it was Euro balance of trade at 2 a.m., high impact news driver, and a Canadian dollar balance of trade at 8:30. There were multiple news drivers, but these were the ones I was specifically looking at. I went long during London Open, and seeing that there was a high impact news driver for the Canadian dollar at 8:30 gave me the confidence to actually hold on to the trade for a New York session. And one of the reasons why you always want to ensure to have high impact or medium impact news drivers because they actually skew your odds of being in high probability conditions when you're in these trades. And of course, it's non-farm payroll week. I don't expect things to be precise, and you can see why I had a little bit of drawdown because of that, or at least I'm assuming that's why I had that drawdown. But moving forward, the other framework was the London Protraction. And of course, you guys know I absolutely love using this, especially when it comes to trading Forex during the London session. This is an absolute monster. So, like I was for USDCAD, I was bullish. So, at midnight, New York Open EST, you would always anticipate the markets trading lower into some kind of a discount array. And it actually did exactly just that. And from there, you would usually look for a shift in market structure, displacement in form of fair value gap, or even an order block. If there's both, that's even better. And you could potentially use that as your long entry. And that's actually what I did in this trade, and we'll actually take a look at that in a second. And the other framework was using a volume imbalance. Now, the volume imbalance wasn't in the dollar CAD itself, but it was in the dollar index. So I use intermarket analysis to pull this off. And the volume imbalance analysis was based on a catapult setup. Probably shouldn't even be mentioning this, but there's a catapult and a whiplash. They're both ICT entry techniques when it pertains to volume imbalances. I won't be trying to explain what they are. I'm still a student myself, and I'm trying to refrain from trying to teach anything that is not mine. So I understand these very well, and it's okay to talk about these, but the other stuff I will try not to do that. So now let's actually take a look at the charts themselves. Alright, I think that's good enough. So before we get started, I know some of you guys want to see execution, so I'll make this quick. Absolutely beautiful. Went long in here, partial, and got out in here. So as you can see, this is a SIBI, really nice SIBI. And I was actually targeting the big figure at 36 even, so $1.36 even, but I didn't get that, and I was still able to get out at consequent encouragement of this fair value gap in here, essentially but I was trying to hold on for 36 even. That would have been a round number. I really like using zeros and stuff, so but overall that's good enough. And actually, even let's remove this as distractions. So sell side liquidity taken here, so we had relative equal lows. Markets took that, leaving this SIBI in here. In all likelihood, after taking sell side and there's a SIBI at a premium, the markets tend to want to gravitate towards that and fill that in. As you can see, it's at a fair value gap in here. Look how the bodies respected that fair value gap. And if you can remember, my entry was a bit higher. Once we dropped to a lower time frame, you'll see my entry was up here, but I had my stop way lower because I saw this order block and this fair value gap. It wicked in there back and forth, which is classic non-farm payroll week, and that's why I was actually okay with the drawdown. I figured, all right, this is just playing around. All these wicks in here working that fair value gap level and the order block. I mean, perfect respect to the order block. Let's actually take a look. The open of that candle, 34,893. About the low of that candle, 34,894. The low of that candle, 34,890. Very close. I was expecting it to be right on the pipette, but that's fair enough. That's good enough for me. Can't complain. As you can see here, so this candle is midnight, and you can see drop into a discount array. So dropping into the fair value gap. Let's drop to a 15-minute time frame. So here's midnight open. So it drops in here straight to the order block, rallies higher, and I got my entry in here anticipating the markets would use this as a breaker, and it didn't. It traded a bit deeper than I'd like. I had stops down here, but ideally you want to see this take off from that breaker, but it didn't do that. I had a little bit of drawdown, but overall I was okay with that. There was another framework I wanted to show you guys, and you can see that was during New York. That nice rally. Look at that 830 candle, big candle, taking out this this short-term swing high in here. So that was a shift in market structure. And that's when I kind of knew, all right, this trade is in good hands, because it didn't take the stop, respected the fair value gap. It wicked back and forth, but none of these candles body even closed in there. None of them. So that's kind of why I knew this one was a good setup. So let's actually do the math fairly quickly. So from the breaker to this candle, that's 80 pips. I was aiming for the big figure, which would have been 89 pips, but overall these entries are pretty good. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is here's the volume imbalance. So as you can see, markets came back up there. It left these relative equal highs, traded back in there. So a lot of people, I had a buddy of mine, he was, I think, bullish, EU and GU. But to me, I didn't want to tell him more. I told him I was thinking about going long USCAD, but he was set on about him being bullish GU and EU. But I was looking at this. all I could think about was the markets are likely to use this consequent encouragement to send price higher and use this volume imbalance as a support area. And it did just that. Came back and boom. And that's why I was even more confident about the USCAD long. Within all that drawdown and all those wicks, I was focused on this volume imbalance because I realized this is going to tell me everything. If it closes this completely and comes back below here, then sure, I'll take the loss, no problem. But in all likelihood, it will use consequent encouragement of this volume imbalance to send this higher. So this is the catapult. I think that so catapult, and whiplash would be whiplash. This is as far as I'm gonna go before ICT starts to yell at me. But yeah, this was a short trade, very simple. And you also can see this was the drawn liquidity, and this was the target to fill in this other volume imbalance. It did just that, went a lot higher, but essentially that's what I was looking at. SIBI up here, so you always want to see that rebalance. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. And the really cool thing about this trade is that I'm testing to see if I could possibly ever send signals for free. And I created this chat where I'm trying to figure out how to even send signals. So let's actually see if I can share my screen. So here it is. So I started this, I think not even a week ago. So this is the second trade I took on there, and it's just me, of course. Yeah, here it is. So first thing, like we talked about, the economic calendar, posted that at 2:30 in the morning. This was the trade, buy market, and it's just by myself. I'm just trying to figure out how do you even do this, how to be able to set limits and stuff, and how do I even use Telegram to send it. So this was the chart. And as you can see, from 320, I was in profit, and then throughout the rest of London, I was in the drawdown. And at 9:12, I sent one eternity later, and that's finally when the trade was back in profit. 35 pips, no stop loss to break even, not risk free on this trade. Take 25% off. These are all things I'm practicing on, and eventually I open the chat for the public, for all of you guys. Maybe in about 2.5 months, I'm really trying to figure out how to do I send them and how to actually take the partials and stuff like that, and make sure I actually know what I'm doing when it comes to sending these, and actually having alerts on to remind everyone about it. So all this, so 75 pips, done for the week, NFP tomorrow. So let's see, the chat itself, Alright, we're back. So overall, pretty good execution. Give me some time, a couple months, to make sure I know how to properly send it in the Telegram, and make sure I know how to use Telegram for that. So really good trade, and if you guys want to see more executions, I'll try to keep it up. Partial up here, and the rest of the position up here. So with all that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and it's been fun. I'm going to try to keep these up, and wish me luck.